There are missions never written into records, and there are people who were never meant to exist. But when the system fails, they're the last ones left standing. A blast tore through the ice ridge. Intercepted comms from Ridgepoint were clipped but clear. A field unit was calling in suppressive fire, but every shot they sent was already being countered. Precision strikes, disabling, not overkilling, no noise, no heat signature. The AI flagged the firing pattern, too consistent, too clean, and then a match, 12 years old, same range, same crosswind, same result. Vakir, the enemy field commander, stared at the map. Color drained from his face. "That's Hollow Dusk protocol," he muttered. "Low angle, single breath, 7-second hold." His XO leaned in. "You're saying it's her Vakir didn't blink? We lost 2 recon teams at Farsend Ridge. I studied every frame of the playback. This isn't just a shooter. This is someone who knows the route we'd choose." A long pause, then a quiet decision. He keyed into open command channel, "All units disengage. We're not outgunned. We're being read." No one argued. They began pulling back before the next command came, because whoever was on that ridge wasn't guessing. They were already one move ahead. Farsend Ridge never had a map. Only coordinates no one volunteered for. They dropped in under overcast sky. 6 Spectre-class operatives, names redacted before the boots even touched ground. The objective sat buried under basalt and steel, a navigation core laced with anti-air feeds, hidden in the bones of a dead fault line. They had 40 minutes, 40 to get in, plant charges, and disappear. At minute 12, the ground shifted. The first detonation didn't kill anyone. It signaled. Steel doors sealed, ventilation locked. Exit protocols failed. Requests for fire support were sent. Denied. No clarification, no follow-up. Just silence. Gravewind 5 tried to hold the breach. Gravewind 1 ran out of rounds. Gravewind 4 was last seen dragging a wounded partner into a blind turn. Gravewind 3 activated a failsafe. The tunnel collapsed behind her. It didn't stop what was coming. Gravewind 6 rerouted a plasma conduit, a move that delayed the auto turrets by 6 seconds. She took a burst to the leg, but the sequence kept running. It was enough for someone else to make it through. That someone was Gravewind 2. She never radioed, never called out. She made it to the core, set the charges manually. One arm broken, ribs cracked, blood soaked through her second skin. At 0646, 46 hours after last contact. An unverified burst lit the reserve channel. No ID, no signature, just Spectre is still breathing. Gravewind 2, objective complete. The room froze. A voice no one expected. A signal command couldn't explain. She had survived. The mission wasn't a failure. It was worse. It had worked without them. Internal comms were locked down. A private memo circulated among 4 officers. No headers, no timestamps. Just one directive: mission not authorized under joint theater protocols. Assets compromised. Strike from record. They called it a training loss. Wrote over the data with satellite logs. Hollow Dusk ceased to exist. Gravewind 2 never did. It wasn't acknowledged. No dispatch, no recovery. Instead, Command issued a strike-through directive. Operation Hollow Dusk no longer existed. In its place, training anomaly. Losses classified. Assets redirected. Colfax was never listed among the dead. Nor the living. Nor anything at all. Months later, an enemy operative turned up at a border outpost. Shell-shocked, mute, no wounds. He stared at the same wall for days, then began carving something into the bed frame. An outline of a mask, smooth, expressionless, no eyes, just a single vent along the jawline. When pressed, he whispered. She walked past me. Didn't aim, didn't speak. I wasn't spared. I was left. The doctor recorded nothing. The file was sealed. At Ridgepoint. No one knew that name anymore. The younger teams had never heard of Gravewind, but the enemy hadn't forgotten. When the radio crackled with her call sign, there was no confusion. No hesitation. Just a single transmission from the other side, fall back. All units. She had become the threat they couldn't track. The silence they couldn't outgun. Not a myth, not a story. Just a breath on an old frequency, carrying the weight of something unfinished. Crosswatch logs indicate intermittent signal activity across defunct uplinks, but none actionable. Until Ridgepoint. The first voice came in cold and clipped. Left ridge, 12 hostiles, marked. Your sniper's exhaling too soon. Recenter. Channel Tango 0 lit up. A code reserved for Spectre-class uplinks buried since Hollow Dusk. Inside the war room, the junior tech stammered. That's a dead channel. No one's authorized, then who the hell's using it? No one answered. They tracked the burst. Origin non-registered uplink device. An obsolete unit. Listed destroyed. Yet somehow active and correct. At Ridgepoint, Lut Maddox's squad was pinned. Visibility 60 meters through sleet. Wind 13 knots cross shear. Private Rendell was trying to steady the long barrel, breathing hard. Missing timing. Then came the shot. Not from Rendell, from above. It hit clean. Neck vertebra. Dropped the lead enemy scout instantly. Maddox spun up his optics. No drone overhead, no heat trace, but the shot was real. He keyed open the secure line. This is Echo Lead. Confirm support. Do we have a Spectre team on Overwatch silence? Then, the voice again, rear bend. 40 meters, tripod team forming. I have one line. You have two. Move. Back at HQ. The SIGINT chief leaned over the console. That weapon profiles from a Spectre 4C series. Gravewind mod. Discontinued. None remain in inventory. Could be black market clone. Not with that grouping pattern. They ran the projectile scan. Recovered casing old brass, laser etched. Marking matched one specific operator. Codename Gravewind 2. Access file redlocked. Only accessible with 2-star clearance. Even then, half the report was blank. Thermal drone footage showed a static figure, 892 meters west of Ridgepoint. No facial ID, no tactical overlay, but posture, stance, and recoil signature aligned. Everything pointed to one conclusion, one that no one wanted to say aloud. Someone finally did. Colfax. That's Erin Colfax, on the enemy side. Comms picked up chatter. A field squad reporting movement through crosswind precise suppression. No overkill. Each shot placed to disable, not just destroy. One commander, call sign Vekir, stood staring at the live map. He had been at Farsend 12 years ago. He'd seen her fire from a corridor filled with smoke and steel. The signature was the same. She's alive, he said. His XO hesitated. You sure Vekir didn't blink? He wasn't watching the feed anymore. He was remembering one shot collapsing their rear sight, another taking out their runner, and before they could realign, nothing. She doesn't shoot to kill. He said, she shoots to disrupt. And once you fall behind, she owns the board. I remember how she corrects for wind. Then he keyed the full retreat. All units, fall back. We're not outgunned, we're outred. Maddox's squad never saw her. But they passed 3 enemy rifles dropped clean. No sign of struggle, just precision. At the exit bend, one spent casing embedded in snow. Spectre mark, regulation groove, impossible to fake. Back at HQ, command froze. One general stared at the data, jaw tight. Reactivate the Hollow Dusk file, he said. A colonel turned to protest but stopped. They all knew the implications. Not just that she lived, but that she never missed. And somewhere, out beyond the edge of protocol and memory, she was still holding the line in a war no one dared admit was still going. She wasn't reactivated. She was never switched off. They buried her to erase a failure, but she kept moving, because someone had to. The auxiliary tactical room beneath Fort Greystone, once used for disciplinary hearings, had been reopened. No flags, no honors, just a meeting, without a name. Brigadier General Harren Voss was already waiting, leaning against the wall. His hands didn't shake, but his eyes were bloodshot. He knew who was about to walk in. The door opened. Erin stepped in. No uniform, no name tag, no insignia. Voss whispered it. Almost reflexively, Colfax. She didn't answer. Just placed an old encryption device on the steel table and activated it. The screen lit up. Original map of Farsend Ridge. Timestamp to the Hollow Dusk operation. Then came the log support denied. Alerts overridden. Data wiped. She didn't speak. Didn't wait for questions. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to make sure your system never kills by silence again. Voss stared at the screen. His fists slowly clenched. I thought, if we stayed quiet, it would pass. She let out a breath that almost resembled a laugh, but it wasn't mockery, just exhaustion. I lay in the dirt for 46 hours, one eye frozen shut, still listening. Every channel refused. No response. I don't need excuses. Voss stepped forward. Half a step. I believed I was preserving stability, calculating loss, doing what had to be done. She met his eyes. Stability for whom the reports, the optics. My team didn't get 1 minute of stability. He braced against the table, the weight in his chest growing heavier. I've lost people in other campaigns. I know grief. But that one, the whole system froze. No one dared to speak. I was just the last line that signed off. She pushed the device toward him. Now you'll be the first line to sign it back. The screen displayed the access command, Patch Sentry 9. Legacy Tag Override. Retroactive Unlock. Hollow Dusk. Voss stared at it for a long time, then confirmed. I can restore your file. You can come back. She shook her head. I didn't come back to be recognized. I came back to fix what erased my team. He narrowed his eyes. You've just set a dangerous precedent. If others, no one wants to be me. General Voss, I was the final contingency. When every protocol failed, Voss stepped back, sat down, like something greater than rank had been taken from him. I won't sleep the same again. She stepped closer, looked straight through him. I thought I'd die. No name, no face. But I lived. And you still have time. Don't use it to forget. Use it to make sure this never happens again. She turned, walked out. No one called her back. No rank reinstated. None needed. An hour later. Fort Greystone systems were updated. Log recorded override accepted. Source G2. No one knew who G2 was, but a new directive was issued instantly. Do not default old signals as noise. Do not dismiss what isn't understood. Do not erase before verifying. A young private asked. What if we verify and it's still wrong? The officer on duty replied. Then we fix it. But if we stay silent, people will keep dying without names. Erin didn't return. But after that day, no one dared erase her from memory again. The systems were patched, the logs corrected. But no ceremony followed, no commendation, no citation, no name restored to the wall. What Erin Colfax did in Hollow Dusk and what she prevented at Echo 7 would live only in fragments, in a restored signal. In a new protocol buried 3 layers deep in the chain of command. In a line of code she herself amended, no unit abandoned without authentication. No signal discarded unless duplicated. She never asked for her name back. She never asked to return. But the damage she reversed was real. The team Maddox led would walk again. Not because command sent orders, but because someone stepped in when every system failed. Someone no longer supposed to exist. In a back corridor, outside the tactical servers, a junior tech found an old tag left beside the backup relay G2 etched faintly into the metal plate. Just that. The tech brought it to Chief Kane, asked if they should catalog it. Kane paused, then slid the tag into his own pocket. No, leave it where it belongs. At night. The wind returned to Echo 7 Pass. Snow buried the prints again, but somewhere beneath that frost. The silence wasn't the same, because Erin had left something behind. Not glory, not legacy. Just a signal that would never be ignored again.